You tuned in to Life Skills, Cooking Basics for Teens with Stacey at the Goffstown Public Library, and I'm Stacey, the Teen Services Library Assistant. All right, so today when I was thinking about something to make, I thought about something that my boys learned to make early on. And then I thought, yeah, this is something that all teens should know how to cook before they leave their home. And so it's the simplest of ingredients, right? Tortillas and cheese, but you can add so many things into it to make a different dish every single time. Have you figured out what we're making yet? Quesadillas. Okay, so we're making quesadillas. And we're gonna kick up those quesadillas by also having a pico de gallo that we're going to make on the side. And we're also going to have a dipping sauce. It's going to be a spicy lime sour cream. All right, so as usual, I'm gonna walk you through all the steps, and at the end of this video, I'm also going to have some reading resources so that you can continue your inspiration of cooking long after the video has ended. Let's get started. We're gonna work on the pico de gallo first, but as usual, we need to wash our hands. So wash your hands and meet me right back here. Spice alert, spice alert. I just wanna let you know, the recipes today, they are pretty spicy. So if anytime spice is not your thing and you want to tone it down, here is the way to do it. In the pico de gallo, just add red pepper or bell pepper. Omit the jalapeno pepper altogether, and that will take away a little bit of the heat from the pico de gallo. And the spicy lime sour cream, use a different type of chili powder and use even less. I used a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe you just use a pinch to suit your heat tolerance. I like the fire, so it might be a little spicy for you, but it can be adjusted. So before I show you the ingredients for our pico de gallo, I'm sure you're asking me, Stacey, what is the difference between pico de gallo and salsa? So I did a little bit of research, and the main thing that I see difference is that a pico de gallo is not as saucy, where a salsa has a lot of sauce, a lot of that juice from the tomatoes. The other thing that I saw that was different is that a pico de gallo is fresh raw vegetables cut up, where sometimes a salsa can have cooked tomatoes inside of it. And then there's, all different kind of add-ins, but that's basically the main difference that I saw. So today we're making a pico de gallo, meaning we're going to use fresh, raw vegetables that we're gonna chop up and blend together. So let me show you the ingredients. Okay, so here are our ingredients for our pico de gallo. We have roma tomatoes, white onion, jalapeno pepper, lime, and then I have 2 herbs over here, and we're gonna get to the herbs later. When we put them in, I'll talk to you about them a little bit more. But these are our main ingredients for our pico de gallo. What we're gonna start with first, you might have thought the tomatoes, but we're actually gonna start with chopping up the onion, the jalapeno, and getting that with some lime juice and letting it sit together for a little bit. Oh, salt and pepper. Always need salt and pepper. I don't have that here, but you will want salt and pepper. All right, so let's get started on our onion, jalapeno, and lime. We'll move our tomatoes off to the side. Okay, here are the tools we're also going to need to use. So we have a glass bowl over here. You want a non-reactive bowl because of your tomatoes. So glass, ceramic, plastic, something like that. We have our cutting board and we have our chef's knife. So we're gonna start and we're gonna use half of our onion. First thing I wanna do is cut off this end right here. Okay, I'm just gonna scoop all that off to the side, cut this in half. We're only gonna use half of our onion. Go ahead and peel this layer, papery layer, right off. Now I've gone over cutting onions before, not cooking them, we've done that too. But let's go over it again because we want a nice small dice of our onions for our pico de gallo. So first thing, we're gonna come in here horizontal. We're gonna make a couple of slices. Go slow, okay? You don't wanna slice yourself. And you don't wanna go all the way through to the root, okay? You're just going a little ways. Then we're going to come down with our vertical. Again, don't go all the way to your root. All right, and then we're going to just right down. That should give us a nice small dice. Here we go. Sometimes if I feel that I want it diced a bit more, I'll just come back through like this. Okay. All right, then I'm going to turn my onion so it was like this up. I'm going to push it down. We're going to go back through again. Okay. Oh, hello there. And that's just going to help us get a little bit more of this onion. Okay, if you have any large pieces, like I said, just go through and cut. There's our onion. Let's get it in the bowl. All right, we're gonna move on to our jalapeno, and as you can see, one of my hands has a plastic bag on it. That is because I'm gonna use this hand to kind of hold on to and touch our pepper. Inside this pepper are seeds, and those seeds are hot. I like a hot pico de gallo, but not everybody in my family does. So I take out some of the seeds and some of the ribs of the jalapeno pepper, and I'll show you that because that's where the heat is. But if it gets on your hands and you go to touch your eye later or your mouth or your nose, don't touch your nose. You're not supposed to be touching those things anyway right now. But if you do, you will burn them. So this hand, I'm just using for the knife. This hand, I'm going to use to be touching the pepper. So I'm going to take off this part, and I'm going to take off the bottom here, okay, over there. And I'm going to take this jalapeno and just cut it right down. All right. And you can see the seeds, and then this part right here, this is called the ribs. And this part I want to take out, and I'm just going to use this hand for that, okay? You can just scoop right out like this. There we go. Right into the trash. You can use your knife to help hold, okay? So I'm leaving just a little bit of the seeds and ribs because I do like a little heat, but my family doesn't like too much. So now we're just gonna come right down and we're gonna make these little, try not to cut your baggie. If you have gloves at home, you can wear gloves, which might help. I just tend to use the baggie because that's what I have on hand. You just don't want to use your own bare finger because it will hurt later, and I know because I've done it. All right, we have these little sticks. I moved all the sticks together, and we're just gonna go right down the sticks and make them into little dices. Keep moving your baggie down. So back and forth rocking motion. And they'll come apart. It's hard with a baggie. So put them together and you can do a rocking motion like this. Just remember, keep the hand that is not protected away from the jalapenos so you don't get any of their heat on there. Looks good to me. And you can also remember, when you're picking it up to put it in, use that baggie hand, right? Ta-da! Okay, so we are almost ready for our tomatoes, but we're gonna work on our lime next. Now, our lime's gonna be easy. We're just gonna cut this lime right in half, okay? And we're gonna squeeze half of our lime onto our jalapeno and onion. Now I give the lime a little bit of a rocking back and forth first, just to kind of loosen it up. Here we go. And we're just gonna squeeze it right over. If you have any cuts on your hand, you might have wanted to keep that baggie on because it might sting. So I do just half of the lime first, and I let this sit together. I put the other half off to the side. I give it a taste later on once everything is in there, and I add more lime if I'd like, okay? I think I have squeezed everything out of that lime. Give it a little stir, and we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. So while this is sitting, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of salt to it, just to taste. And I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper, not a lot. We don't want too much heat, and pepper can do that, okay? There we go. Let that sit. Let's move on to our tomatoes now. All right, so tomato. This is called a Roma tomato. It's kind of like a plum look to it. I use these tomatoes because they do not have as many, the inside is not as juicy and seed-filled as maybe like a large slicing tomato or a beefsteak tomato, but use whatever tomatoes you have on hand. This is just what I happen to have. We're gonna take off this part right here and this part at the end. So just a small, and there we go. All right, now, nice and easy, we're going to cut down and make these rounds, like you were cutting it to put on a burger. All the way down, perfect. Just took a few of these rounds, and we're gonna go, and we're gonna cut sticks out of them. That's what I call it, sticks. So it's like we started with planks, and now we have sticks. And then we take our sticks, and we make dices. Okay, put that off to the side. All right, here's our planks again. You see those? We're going to make sticks. And then we're going to turn them, and now we're going to dice. Any little pieces you set, just move over. All right, here we go again. If there's any piece that you think the dice is just too large, they're not too uniform, you can just cut them up a little bit more. All right, I'm going to use my knife to help me. I'm going to pop these right in here. And let's try it again. This end off and this end off. Just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, we're going to make our rounds. Put them up together. Okay, our sticks. Turning together our dices. Okay, our sticks. It's okay if they're kind of falling apart like mine are. They're a bit ripe in the middle. And there we go. These were pretty large Roma tomatoes that I have here. So I actually might just use the 2 tomatoes today. So you don't want your, in a pico de gallo, you don't want your tomatoes outrunning your other ingredients. So you can always chop up a little bit more onion if you'd like to. I'm just gonna stop right there, and we're going to talk about the herbs that I have. Okay, so the last thing we need for our pico de gallo is just to add in some herb. Now, typically, cilantro is the herb of choice for Mexican dishes. Some people, though, think that cilantro tastes like soap, and I have 2 people in my family that feel that way. So I tend to put in parsley instead. Now, Parsley and cilantro are part of the same botanical family, but they are different species and they have very different flavor profiles. Parsley, especially the flat leaf parsley, is very mild and it's used a lot in Italian dishes, and it's used as a garnish a lot too because it's very pretty and it's mild. Cilantro has a very robust flavor, and like I said, you either love it or you hate it, and you either think it tastes delicious or you think it tastes like soap. So today I am going to use parsley in mine. Now you can get fresh parsley or fresh cilantro and you can chop it up. I buy these little tubs of herbs. They are like semi-dry and you keep them in the refrigerator, and that's what I like to use because I use them so much and it's just easy to take a pinch and drop it in. So I'm going to use the parsley today. I'm going to show you the cilantro, and you can see they look very, very similar, but their flavor profile is completely different. So you use what you would like, or if you want to completely omit it, you can do that too. You're the one making it. So just a pinch of parsley in. There we go. First, I'm going to set this off to the side, and we're going to move on to our spicy lime sour cream. Okay, so for our spicy lime, there's the lime. Our spicy lime sour cream, we are gonna start with these ingredients. We're gonna start with sour cream, lime juice. Inside here, I already have some of the spices we're going to use. So I have a chipotle chili pepper, cumin, salt and pepper, and then we're also going to add garlic powder to that. I'm just going to show you how to scoop out your spices and put them in. And we're going to use 1/4 of a cup of sour cream for this, okay? So I'm taking my sour cream and my rubber spatula. You want to have a nice bowl. Okay, and now I'm just going to scoop the sour cream right into this 1/4 cup measuring cup. And you want to push it down. You don't want any air pockets, right? So once you feel like that's good, just give it a slide. Okay, a little over is perfectly fine. Use the same rubber spatula to help scoop it out into your bowl as much as you can. Okay, there we go. We're done with the sour cream, so let's put it off to the side. All right, next we're gonna take our lime like we did before, and you're gonna squeeze that right into the sour cream. You can also use lime juice that's in a bottle from the grocery store, so if that's what you have at your house, that's fine. I would say start with like a 1/2 teaspoon and see what it looks like. You won't want it too watery, okay? All right, I'm gonna give that a stir. Okay. Next, I'm just gonna toss these measured out inside. And the last one is gonna be our garlic powder. So remember, I said inside here, I have a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle chili pepper, ground cumin, also a 1/4 teaspoon, and then same with the salt and pepper. And so now I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of the garlic powder right inside. And give that a mix. There we go. We have our spicy lime sour cream or crema, and we have our pico de gallo. All that's left is to make our quesadilla. Okay, so now on to the main thing you've been waiting for, the quesadilla. And here are the simple ingredients. For today's quesadillas, we're going to use cheddar cheese, a little bit of vegetable oil, and these are corn and wheat tortillas, but you can use whatever tortillas you have at home. And then of course your tools. We're going to have a metal spatula and a frying pan. I'm using a cast iron frying pan because that's what I like to use at home, but you can use any kind of frying pan that you have. Okay, I'm gonna start by heating up my frying pan on the stovetop to about medium or between number 5 and 4. I'm then going to add about a half teaspoon of oil to my pan. Once your pan comes up to temp, put on your first tortilla. Now it's time for cheese. That looks pretty good to me. Put your other one right on top. And use your spatula to press down to keep the edges from curling. To tell when it's time to flip, just lift the corner. If you have a little give with your cheese, go ahead and flip it. Perfect. Your quesadilla is now ready. All right, there we go. I cut up our quesadilla. I added a little bit of the spicy lime sour cream to the top, and on the side, our pico de gallo. This looks like a really delicious lunch. If you prefer guacamole or other types of salsa to lift up your quesadillas, then check out this Food Network magazine, the May 2019 issue. It can be found in RB Digital and also Overdrive and Libby by Overdrive in Goffstown Public Library's downloadable resources. So thank you for cooking with me today. I really hope you enjoyed these recipes, and I hope that you would try them at home. And if you do try them at home, will you share them with us or any of the recipes that you've made? You can share it on our Facebook page, on our teen Facebook page, our Instagram, or even right here in the comments on our YouTube channel. Of course, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of this great content, make sure you subscribe. That way you know right away when a new video comes up and you're sure not to miss another tasty treat or any other type of video that we have. I have to go and clean up the kitchen now. The one part about the whole cooking that I don't love. Yeah, no one's coming. It's all me. Before I go and do that though, I think I'm just gonna take my pico de gallo, sit down, and enjoy the whole bowl. Until next time, I'm Stacey with Life Skills Cooking Basics for Teens. See you later.